welcome back to another video in the series of cheap obscure guitars that do not suck, question mark. Now this is not that obscure possibly, and I've done a few that aren't obscure. This is a BC Rich. Now I believe this is a Warlock. Has some reasonable age to it, I think. Now this seems to me to have been quite loved because it's been quite heavily modified, and once I discovered that I couldn't make my mind up whether to do a video on it or not, because it probably has no resemblance to what one of these guitars should actually sound like. But I thought, no, I'm going to do a video anyway, because you might be interested in what people do to their guitars. You know, the person who owned this, it's their guitar, they can do what the hell they like to it, can't they? Now firstly, I don't think this is stock colour. I think it might have been white under the paint. They did quite a nice paint job on it actually in the day. Now there's a few mods that have been done to this, so I'm just knocking things about, excuse me. Firstly, the colour. Secondly, I looked underneath and yeah, look at that wiring. You see that every bloody wire has been hacked about. This should have also had a Floyd Rose licensed bridge on it, and that's been filled and packed and changed. It's got a fixed bridge on there, and I found out the reason this has been modded, or not the reason, found out it had been modded purely because I went to try and tune it, and it sounded okay, but the intonation was absolutely way off, and as soon as you started playing up in the upper registers on the fretboard, it sounded bloody awful. So I went to adjust the intonation, and yeah, ping, strings started snapping. So I thought, I'm going to put a new set of strings on this. I won't give a great setup, it looks like it's not far out anyway, but I'll set the intonation, and I think we'll just do the video anyway and see what it sounds like. It's going to give you a reasonable idea of what these things will sound like, I hope. But I've got a feeling that these pickups have been changed as well, but I don't know. It's worth doing a video anyway, isn't it, just to see what any guitar sounds like. Okay, before we get into that, a little bit about what I do know about it is they've been going since about 1969, BC Rich. Tend to have a sort of range of guitars that are definitely aimed at a bit more metal players, I think. I mean, this is not going to be played by some old fart like me, some sort of classical sort of style, are they? Yeah, it's got a maple neck, it's got a scarf joint at the top, so I think this is possibly one of the lower end ones. Because it do makes some really, really good quality guitars, and some of them are quite expensive. They look like fairly standard stock tuners you find on a lot of kind of lower range guitars, to be honest. They seem okay, so I'm not going to knock them. If it works, it works. Now the body, this is another giveaway, this is the lower end. It's actually, it's ply. I can see there's actually plies. I don't think the camera's going to pick it up in there. Probably not, but yeah, it's a ply body. Now that doesn't mean to say it's not going to play well or have sustain. Some ply bodies work well and some are absolute shite. It's just a case of how tight the plies are and the quality of them. Anyway, enough waffle. I'll get it restrung up and we'll get in to see what it sounds like. Right, got new strings on. While the strings were off, I had the pickups out, and there's absolutely nothing written on them at all, so I'm beginning to think that they're probably the stock pickups for this guitar and not replacements, because I'm pretty certain when you buy aftermarket pickups they'll be serial numbered, dated, marked up in some way, just purely for warranty sake purposes really. So I'm pretty certain they're the originals. Now I think the reason why the wiring's been mucked about with is it looks like the switch has been replaced, because it's also been backwards. Well, we can live with that. Okay, let's get on and see what this thing sounds like. I have the BC Rich Warlock, albeit I think probably at the lower end of their spectrum. Overall, a pretty good guitar, it really is. It's got a very, very slim profile neck and a very, very small D profile to it. So yeah, very slim taper. I prefer slightly fatter necks to play. I have a hand issue, and people who watch my channel know that I always say that I prefer the slightly fatter necks, but that's just my own personal preference. Now, for being a plywood body, I think this has pretty reasonable sustain. And the pickups, I mean, they're okay. They lack some of the dynamic range, I think, of some of my other guitars, but that's not to say that they're not as good. They're just different, and you know, it has its own appeal, as does the shape. It won't appeal to everybody, but overall I think it's quite a nice guitar. Now, one thing I did notice, probably more off camera than on, is pinched harmonics. Quite easy to find on it. I suppose it should be easy to find on all guitars if you know what you're doing. As you know, I'm still learning. But anyway, yeah, overall, yeah, quite impressive little beast, really. Anyway, I hope you enjoy some of that. More videos coming up, so please stay tuned, and I'll catch up again soon. So thanks very much for watching. Bye now.